comments on my reel today that I want to try to answer in more detail. But if you have more questions about this concept, because I know it is confusing to a lot of people, and I feel like there isn't one way to say it. You have to keep saying it over and over and over again until the right pieces sink in. But if you have more questions, please send them to me so that I can try to help you figure out which pieces of the puzzle you're missing. Okay, so we've talked about how an effective inhale moves down and it creates expansion in your abs, but it also creates expansion in your ribs, both from your sides and from your back. And as it moves down, it creates length in your pelvic floor. All of those things happen in an effective inhale. But if you don't have an effective inhale, you might want to spend time practicing and focusing on where the movement doesn't occur in you so that you can learn to create that movement. Because then an effective exhale is the reverse of that. So if I'm just sitting here relaxed at rest and I'm just, watching my dog in the backyard, let's say, I still am breathing down and expanding into all of those places. And maybe depending on my positioning, the effectiveness of my expansion is different in different places. Like right now, there's a little bit more length in my back and a little bit less length in my abs because I'm slumped. Okay, but when you're relaxed, because being able to relax is important too, you should not feel like you need to brace your core all the time. So when I'm relaxed, I'm creating expansion with my inhale. The effort is on my inhale, and the exhale is just a recoil of that expansion. So my exhale is passive. But if I'm exerting effort, if I'm holding a kid, if I'm working out, if I'm lifting something, then my effort is going to be on my exhale, because on my exhale, I have engaged my pelvic floor, I have lifted up with my pelvic floor, I have narrowed my abs, I have closed my ribs down, my abs are turned on, and all of this engagement gives me added stability that helps me to provide the stability I need for the effort. So let's say, as a super simple example, that I'm doing a bicep curl. I inhale, create expansion. I exhale, brace, and perform that effort. So in the biceps example, your inhale would happen as you're lowering that weight, and your exhale would happen right before and during your curl, so that you're getting that engagement of your abs to provide you trunk stability as you're lifting this weight. But the question that I had was, what if I am holding a position, or what if I'm doing a deadlift? So if you're doing a deadlift, the same concept applies. You want to coordinate your movement with your breath. So as you lower in your as you lower in your deadlifts, you're inhaling. As you come back up, you're exhaling. Or if you need more control as you lower in your deadlift, you inhale before you lower, you exhale for control on your deadlift. At the bottom, you inhale again, you exhale and come back up. All right, so let's do a deadlift example. I do everything single leg because I don't have any big barbells, but and I love the one-sided work. Okay, so my options are, if I need more stability, I could inhale at the top, exhale as I lower, okay? And then inhale at the bottom, exhale as I come up. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. That's one option. Or the other option would be, which is a little bit more advanced, would be inhale, lower, exhale, come up. Inhale, lower, exhale, come up. So you have to find what works with your body, what lets you create the stability that you need and still coordinate your breathing with your movement. Okay, but then let's talk about, what if I'm holding a position? Let's say I'm holding a plank. How do I still engage my core but breathe in this position and not feel like my breaths are so tiny that I'm hyperventilating? In part, it's something that you have to learn to control your breathing in that way. It does take a little bit of practice because your breaths are going to be smaller. But you also have to learn to maximize the amount of inhale that you can get from places that are not your abs. So I'm going to stand where y'all can really see my belly versus actually doing a plank. But pretend that I was on the floor and I was in a plank position and I'm holding it. So when my core is really engaged, I'm not going to be able to allow but so much expansion here. So my inhales and exhales might sound like this. Where they're smaller, that first one was a little bit big because I wasn't really engaged. Okay, but another point is that all of my expansion is not coming from my abs. Some of it is going to come from my back. So the more engaged my abs are, the more I'm going to need expansion from my back and my sides so that I can maintain this control, because I'm using this for stability, and so I need that motion to happen all the way around my rib cage when I inhale so that my abs can not lose all of their engagement. But just like we have eccentric engagement with your, arm or with your legs, you also have eccentric engagement with your abs and with your pelvic floor, meaning that you still have control as a lengthening is occurring. We don't only have control as things shorten, but you have to practice and learn to trust the control that you have in lengthening because it's less familiar to you. Okay, and the other really good question I had in my comments was, how do you lift your lower abs and then sequentially your upper abs? And the answer is you have to have a good inhale first. So if you don't have a good inhale, left click a couple of times over here and go back to where I was talking about the inhale and figure out what you're missing in your inhale, or I teach this in my online program. And once you have a good inhale, you blow through pursed lips. So make a circle and blow really, really, really long. And as you blow longer through that smaller opening, your abs will engage from the bottom up. But you have to have a good inhale first. You have to be able to expand in all those directions, in all those places, so that when you exhale, sorry for all the planes, it happens from the bottom up.